Today's class will be on the power of spiritual healing through prana and energy manipulation. My name's Ivan. I've been a student of Nehemiah Davis, who will be teaching the class for 3 years now. Nehemiah Davis himself, he's been a yogi mystic all his life. He was born into this, and he's been brought up on these teachings and has a lot of knowledge and information on these teachings. I would like to direct everybody online, if you're new to this class, to meetup.com. This is where we plan all our classes and all our events. When you go to www.meetup.com, you can find us under the Miami Metaphysical Study Group. When you do, I would recommend, just to make these classes a little easier for you, to go to the More tab at the top. Under that tab, you're going to see another tab called Files. Please go into that folder and download the glossary of most frequently used terms. That will help you a lot if this is the first time you've been introduced to these kind of teachings, to keep up. A lot of the terminology we use is Sanskrit, so the first time you hear them, you might be a little confused. So that's a really good tool to use if you're new to these kind of teachings. I would like to also put it out there that we are accepting donations. As of now, we're trying to upgrade our camera and our equipment so we can stream better videos. If you're interested in donating, you can donate anything you want. Go to donate.mysticknowledge.org. Right, that'll direct you to our PayPal account, and you'll be able to donate there. And that'll be greatly appreciated. You can also stay tuned. We do have a lot of plans in the works, the organizers of IMKC, International Mystic Knowledge Center, and we will be advertising those plans shortly, as soon as we finalize everything, so you can see where your donations will be going to. All right, and with that, I'll introduce Nehemiah.
Okay. Today, can you put up the PowerPoint? Today we will continue class 2 of spiritual healing. And go to the table of contents. These are the subjects we're trying to cover today, at least half of them. Control, imagination, control, visualization, understanding the power of concentration when directing prana, the mudra used in the spiritual healing technique, understanding pranayama to enhance the spiritual healing technique, projecting the spiritual healing pranas. These are the main topics that we're going to go over. Next slide. Imagination is man's only creative faculty in this spiritual healing. And then the thought form is created, and that's how you communicate with yourself, and that's how you communicate with someone else. The third step would be that you speak, that you find some way to shrink those hundreds of thousands of thoughts that you just thought into words. But imagination comes first. Visualization is a component of imagination. Man's imagination has a magnetic effect on the psychomental level of his being, and that's what we was talking about earlier, which causes various mental explosive activities that produce the mental image, which is a mental thought form. Every time you think something, a thought form is created, and it actually pulls energy and mind substance within the chakras, which is your consciousness, which is bits of your consciousness, and it pushes the thought forms out, as completed thought forms. So it's there. Mental images desired from the mental command. That's your mental command. That's how you push this thing out. These mental thought forms that are produced and manifest by man's interactions in life through the process of imagination these are the things that when this happens, it goes out of your chakra and it enters your aura. And this is how your mental body and your whole mental character is developed. These thought forms, they rotate in your aura, they embed themselves, they reconfigure your aura to who you are. That's how you come up with your personality, your likes or dislikes or whatever. Go next step. Next. So, mind substance is all around us. Mind substance is actually an energy. It's an energy the same way we breathe in vital life force, we breathe in mind substance. Okay? And we have an aura of mind substance we have this mind substance trapped in our aura as well. And there's a constant interchange. The same way we need, in fact, mind is energy. The same way we think about energy entering and exiting our body, mind substance does the same thing. It's a form of prana. Okay? So we have this flow of mind substance that goes in and out of us. And mind substance is a thing that helps shape and mold the energy. In fact, the component of shakti is mind, is chitta, which molds and shapes this all-pervasive prana into whatever we need it to be. Okay? So one of the ways imagination works is that we use our mental commands to mold and shape the prana that's all around us. There's prana all around us, and that's what we use it to do. Just like it says here, that man's ability to manifest himself on any realm of existence is based on the level of mind frequency his soul has been able to translate. This comes back to his imagination, because your imagination is the thing that helps you to grow and to express yourself and to mold and shape your destiny. If you was to, let's say, if you wanted to, if you know a particular person you wanted to be like, you can actually study that person's characteristics, that person's abilities to do certain things, and you can instill those characters within yourself through imagination and visualization. You can imagine and visualize that you are becoming like that person, and those characteristics will begin to manifest themselves within you. So imagination is a very, very powerful thing. Move to the next. Huh? Who had a question here?
I just want to add that it sounds very similar to acting.
Yes. Whole life cycles are based on our ability to tune into the all-knowledge space and translate this spiritual karmic action. Okay? Imagination helps you to do this. Without imagination, you don't have a hope. Because imagination is most used in what? In self-consciousness. Okay? The animals, they can't use imagination the way we use imagination. We're self-conscious beings. We're at that level that we can work through the first two chakras above the base of the spine. We can use the base of the spine, the sex center, and the solar plexus center. Those are self-conscious and subconscious type aspects of your mental body. We can exchange information consciously between our subconscious and conscious mind. So this gives us a tremendous ability to be able to interact with the outer world and the inner world. So that's what separates us from the animal. Okay? Spiritual karmic actions can be defined as actions of a person that strictly adheres to the divine laws of karma because of the wisdom came from the all-knowledge space of the universe. Imagination brings you into that point where you can use this creative power to begin to tap into the all-knowledge space. Because it is imagination that you channel this prana and you go back and forth, the nadis, opening up the different pathways to allow a free flow of the consciousness, the vehicle of consciousness called kundalini to move through these nadis. You open your mind, you open those pathways, and eventually this creative force will have such a magnetic pull on the kundalini that you can tap into the all-knowledge space, the bindu, within each chakra, and manifest it throughout your lower consciousness. In fact, absorb your lower consciousness into the superconscious. One of the keys to tapping into the universal mind substance that contains the all-knowledge space is the inherent faculty, imagination, as stated by the late Dr. George King. That imagination is man's only creative faculty. And in fact, he has a lecture tape called that the imagination is man's only creative faculty. I would suggest that you purchase that and listen to it. The ability to imagine is something that all man has from birth. I mean, this is birthright, like I was saying earlier. This thing that separates us from animals. This is your birthright. And you can use it to achieve any level you want in life because of this imagination. Any level. As I was saying earlier, the key to any mystic practices, the key to any mystic practices is the ability to obtain control over your imagination. See, it is your imagination also, is a double-edged sword, that create the fears within you. You're afraid to do something because you can imagine what's going to go wrong. So instead of allowing the negative to multiply itself in your imagination, you need to control your imagination and concentrate on the positive aspects, not only of the situation, but also the positive aspects of yourself. Like, what are you good at? Concentrate on those things that you have control over and that you're good at, and always utilize your skills to the best of your ability. And you can even use your imagination to show you how you're going to counteract all the, all the obstacles that you come by using the skills that you have. Because if you concentrate on your skills and you know yourself well enough, then you can use those as weapons against the obstacles in your life. So that's the thing that you want to do with imagination. Don't allow the fears of your imagination to take you out. Because so many people do that. They get bogged down in their own petty sorrow, emotion, and they just let their imagination take them, and now they have no energy to do nothing, and they can't even get out of the bed. So you want to move away from that and be able to clearly see the light at the end of the tunnel. That's what you want to be able to do. You want to be able to clearly see the light at the end of the tunnel. Now, we said all that to get to this. The chronic spiritual healing technique utilizes the power of imagination for the following. Imagination gives us the ability to pull on the all-pervasive cosmic energy. There's this abundance of energy that's all around us. The key is to use your imagination to visualize this energy coming down through the top of your head and down through your hands and pushing it out to your patient. But as it comes through you, impregnated with your thoughts, with your imaginative thoughts, where you turn this brilliant white energy or violet energy, which energy you want to pull, and spiritualize it with all type of healing qualities, and push it out to your patient. This is where the imagination comes into full use for this technique. This technique depends on your ability to control your imagination. It's through imagination that these subtle energies are pulled down within the auric structure as conscious directed power with a purpose. And that's what you want to give it. Because the energy that's around us, it has no immediate purpose but to serve us. Okay? So, because all energy in the universe is there to sustain life. But what we can do is take this energy and add a purpose and direction to it. Other than that, it's going to follow a cycle. Okay, the same cycle you see when we breathe in. We take this oxygen and we deplete it of its oxygen, and we breathe out carbon dioxide, and that carbon dioxide feeds the green life of this earth, and the green life take that carbon dioxide and turn it back into oxygen and give it to us. It's going to follow a cycle. That's what this subtle energy is going to follow a cycle. The subtle energy comes from the sun in 5 modes of operation. It bombards this earth, and it runs in as we know, in 3-hour cycles. And these 3-hour cycles have it to impact our body in certain ways. It has a cycle. The peana prana within those 5 operations, it comes in through the sex center, and it travels all around our body. It goes to every aspect of our body, of our physical body, our astral body, our etheric body. It radiates through all of those bodies. The apana energy comes in through the base of the spine, and it moves from the base of the spine up to the heart chakra and fall back down again. That's the cycle that it's on. Okay? The prana comes in through the heart chakra, which is a Vaya type Tavic Buddhist. It comes in through the heart chakra, and it falls down to the base of the spine and springs back up to the heart, and maybe a little bit above the heart. The Udana prana comes in through the throat chakra. It feeds the brain, it feeds the arms, and it feeds the legs. It rotates through those. So, and then the samana prana is centrally located in the heart, and in the solar plexus center. And actually, what it does is it's stationary there, but it pulls on all the pranas as a junction point, because all the pranas have to travel through that solar plexus center. So, and that prana itself comes directly from the sun. It's not modified by the earth or the moon or whatever. So it all runs on cycles. Now, one of our jobs is to interrupt these cycles to a point to get it to respond to what we want it to do. Right? In pranayama, you want to be able to control prana anaparna, and you want to be able to centralize or mix these pranas and charge them in a certain way to feed the brain. See? So that you can create this magnetic pull. But if we allow it to just go into this cycle, it's going to continue to go into the cycle. Because that's its nature. That's its nature. But that's why we're taught different techniques of pranayama, to slowly take control over all these pranas. Okay? It is through imagination is the power that allows us to impregnate the streams of cosmic energies with spiritual healing purposes. Lastly, imagination gives the ability to project this power to the targeted patient. And those are the four keys to imagination. All right? Now, with imagination comes visualization. Go ahead.
When you use controlled imagination, let's say think of alternative solutions to problems, or if you're focusing on, they say on a flower or something to gain insight into concentration, to gain, what is it that's feeding you those kind of insights? Is it the superconscious mind?
No, not necessarily.
It's your own conscious mind?
It's you can enhance your conscious mind to tap into that flower through concentration and contemplation. Okay? And what it is, because already everything in this room, you're connected to everything in this room right now. And there's an exchange of information with everything in this room. Okay? Now scientists have proven that. Scientists actually proved that. And I'm sure maybe some of the older people probably remember when scientists back in the 60s, in the 50s or the 60s, when they really dived into hypnosis. They found that some people was very, very good at hypnosis, and what they found that they can take a child, a person back to their birth, and that person was able to tell them exactly how many ceiling panels was in the room where they was born at. How many lights, how many ceiling panels, the color of the walls and everything. Because why? Subconsciously, your subconscious mind retain all of that. Because why? Because there's an interchange of information on a regular basis with everything around you. You just are totally unaware of it. So your subconscious and your superconscious mind is connected, but your conscious mind is not connected. But your conscious mind can pick up that information from the subconscious mind and eventually from the superconscious mind. So the information is there. The fact that you walked in the room, the information is there.
You can draw on past experiences from your subconscious mind, and then things that you've never experienced, you draw to the superconscious mind. Yeah,
you experienced it, but you mean things that you haven't experienced, like in China.
Or like, let's say I'm trying to write a paper or something, and I'm trying to, like, what's guiding my thoughts when I'm focusing that mental energy, that imagination,
Mhm.
and you're constantly gaining like these new insights of something that you haven't experienced?
Because someone has, and you are connected to the whole world. So if anyone have experienced something, then your higher self have experienced it, and you can tap into that information. You understand?
But it's with the conscious mind, not the super conscious mind.
No, well, you can tap into it in a superconscious state as well. But the superconscious mind is aware of those things. It's connected. Conscious mind is only an aspect of the superconscious mind. So, and its function is not to be connected. Okay? Now, as you develop yourself, your conscious and subconscious mind is absorbed back into the superconscious mind. That's the whole thing about dissolution of consciousness that you'll read about in tantric yoga. Okay, and then it will seed the conscious mind, where the conscious mind become aware of that.
So it's more this, when you say that, when you come up with an insight that's already been thought somewhere else in the world. So I guess going back to the question, so what's the mind that's pulling on it? Is the subconscious mind?
There's one mind, and that one mind is the earth. The earth is the cosmic being of this earth, of this planet, and we are sharing in the mind of the earth.
The logos?
Huh?
The logos?
Yes, there's one mind in the solar system, and that mind is what?
The sun.
The sun. And we're sharing in the mind substance of the sun. So therefore, all knowledge is here for us. But we have not prepared ourselves to tap into it. It's the same way you take this computer. I'm not connected to the internet, so guess what? I'm not connected to what? To this mass amount of information. I can't pull it out, right? But as soon as I connect, I can Google this and Bing this, and just I can go to all these different databases and pull down information. It's the same thing with your conscious mind. You have not connected your conscious mind to the whole, to the great cosmic internet. You know, so as soon as you move all the obstructions and pull in all the right connections, then you're connected. You know, so that's the big difference. The information is here with you. Everything that you need to know is with you. You just need to tap into it. Because remember, you live in what? A sea of what?
Mind stuff.
Of mind. So it's the frequency in which you're working on that you can't tune in. If you turn on the radio and you don't have the proper antenna or binary system, you can't do what?
And listen.
You can't listen. So you have to make sure you put all those things in place, and then you can hear. You get a good reception. You know, so it's the same thing. Scientists have proven this to us. It's there. I mean, here someone, they put this guy in hypnosis, and they took him back to when he was just being born, and he described the room in the hospital. Even knew the room number. You know, because when they exited him as a baby, he looked up at it and seen it, and they researched it, and he was correct. Fortunately, the place was not rehabbed that much. It still had the same panels and same, you know. So I mean, it's there. Your brain is picking up all of this. Not your brain, but your subconscious mind is picking up all this information because you're going through this experience. Now, when you go to the superconscious mind is picking up all this information as well. From everywhere. Because it's connected to the whole. Remember what we say, the spirit and the soul is connected to the whole. The soul never loses its connection, and the soul uses the supraconscious mind as its vehicle of consciousness, as its main vehicle of consciousness. You know, so why? Because it's connected to everything. But in order to follow the correct directives of the spirit, it had to create other layers of consciousness in order to gain basic experience. Okay? Let's go to visualization. So I answer your question, right? Visualization is a component of imagination. It is used to place a duration of time specifications on the creative fields of imaginative thought forms that in turn extends the life and intensity of the controlled imagination, controlled imaginative mental thought images. So in other words, visualization sustains the imagination that you just created. If I imagine something, if I bring something into being through my imagination, me visualizing that, I put it into a time cycle in order to sustain it. Okay? Now, what I did talk about here is one of the best ways to do that is through the power of love energy. Okay? What does love energy do? It preserves. So if I'm doing this healing and I place great love and feeling into it, I sustain that. I sustain the energy, in other words. So when I'm radiating the energy and I put love and feeling into it, then I can sustain the operation of that energy that I'm projecting until it completes its task. Okay? If I can't muscle up that love, that energy is not going to do not going to do much good. But if I can implant over time, if I can learn to implant my love and feelings into what I'm doing, then when that energy leaves me, it will not give up. It will continue to act until it solves its problem. Okay, and that's the nature of love energy. It'll go to its target, and it will put a fierce battle on to obtain what you want it to obtain, and that's how instant healing comes about. That's why they said that Jesus was the master of love, because he was able to bring about instant healing, because his love energy that he was able to project from himself was so powerful that it went out and completed its task. And that's one of the secrets of love energy. Love energy preserves. And in order to preserve itself, if it have to change the conditions to bring about that preservation, it will do it. Okay? And that's why, that's one of the reasons why we call Jesus the master, the great master of love. Anybody remember the formula I gave them on love? I think it's in the 9 freedoms. Anybody remember that?
Multiplies itself by 4.
It multiplies itself by 4 until what? Until it achieves. In other words, if you send out love energy to a target, it'll go to that target, and if the energy is not strong enough, if the love energy is not strong enough, it'll bounce off that target and it'll multiply itself by 4. And then it'll go back to that target. So let's say if you send one stream of energy out and it was 1 unit of energy, then it'll hit the target, it's not strong enough to get through. It has the ability to multiply itself against itself, using its own ability, just like a cell, one of those cells, what they call it, mitosis cell, that keeps splitting.
Self-replicating.
Yeah. And that's the type of energy that love is. It hits the target, it'll multiply itself by 4. It goes, it hits the target again, it's not strong enough, It goes from 1 to 4, 4 times, 4 times 4, 16. Then it keeps multiplying itself until it breaks the barrier. And that's why it's an energy of preservation. It's the only energy that we know of that can multiply itself, can sustain itself from itself, in other words. So it has this tremendous love energy. It's sort of like, it's a fission, sort of like the sun. The sun multiplies itself from itself. Okay, so that's the, visualization is that component that uses this love within imagination. Okay? Subtle cosmic energies under control, imagination, and visualization becomes a powerful psycho-mental, physical instrument for radiating spiritual healing energies, and I just explained why. Okay? That's the next step.
Yeah.
Controlled imagination and visualization builds the proper mental background fabric, sustaining the power for funneling huge amounts of subtle cosmic energies through the auric structure. Okay. The energy that you're pulling in, it needs a pathway. It needs a pathway. So it's your visualization, it's your imagination and visualization that gives it the pathway. Your body normally takes in this energy, okay? But it's gonna follow the cycle if you don't use your imagination and visualization. It's gonna come in and it may go out where you want it or it may not. It may just follow the cycle, okay? So what you wanna do is through imagination, visualization, and concentration, you want to push that energy in the direction that you want to for that given time that you're doing the healing. If not, it's going to follow the cycle. It's going to follow the cycle. The impregnated subtle cosmic energies with the mental impressions of spiritual healing gives the purpose and direction that becomes the intelligent signatures of the flow of energies being projected. So create the pathway, okay? The pathway becomes those intelligent signatures for the energy. You have to give the energy a life, a mental life in order to push it. Other than that, it's gonna follow the cycle that it started with, okay? So that's what you need, which will take on the job of modifying the background fabric and sustaining the power source in the projected mode. All right? So you have to create that visualization. You have to pull down the energy and make your whole body, all your actions becomes a great mudra to push that energy where you want it to go. Other than that, the energy is going to flow in a normal way. Not to laugh at people, but I was cynical back in my day. I used to go to this healing center over in Hollywood, and we would have these healers there, and it was about 30, 40 people would come, and they'll sit down, and then we the healers, we would it'd be maybe like 6 or 7, sometimes 9 of us, and all these people would come in and out. For about 2-3 hours, we would do healing at the healing center in Hollywood, Florida. And some of these healers, the energy started flowing through them, and they just be going like this, And I look at them psychically to see, well, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe something's happening over here, Because here I am, I'm following the king's technique. So I'm looking over there, and the only thing that's happening is that they're riding the wave of the energy. the energy is going through its normal cycle, and they get caught up into the psychic world, and they just riding the wave with no direction, no purpose. So don't get driven into, the power, the energy. Don't get, you are the commando. You push the energy where you want to. The energy is going to have a natural flow. You can ride, you can sensitize your body to feel that natural flow, and you can go on a high. But it's not going to do your patient any good. Okay? You have to be the commando. You have to push that energy through you. You know, so don't fall prey to that. Back then when I was watching, I had to be like 19, 20 some years old. And when I started seeing that several of them do that, I thought I was doing something wrong. So, I'm looking and start studying them, and I said, they just on a high, they just on a high. And everybody used to praise them. I said, these people out of their mind. So I mean, it's just ridiculous. And this one guy came in, and he just went crazy. And when I looked at him, he was dealing with a bunch of negative energy, getting high on negative energy. I had to go in the bathroom and just laugh. I just had to go in the bathroom and just fall on the floor laughing, because it was so ridiculous. I couldn't say anything to him. But that's what happened. You can get caught up on this energy. The energy flows through you. And the person he was doing the healing for, they had this abundance of negative energy in them. But it was vital energy. So I stand from afar and try to cleanse the person's aura of the energy. But the thing is that you can go as good as you are, you still can get caught up in that and just go crazy. So take control and utilize the control to control the energy. Yeah.
So say like the 12 blessings, for example, when we're pushing out energy towards, whatever we're blessing, since we're not making contact with it, if we lose concentration, does the energy redirect or go in its natural flow during that time, or?
What do you mean by that?
So for example, the first blessing, is the word for peace.
Mm-hmm.
Do we concentrate and tell the energy throughout the entire prayer to go towards or visualize those who work for peace, and if we lose that concentration, does the energy kind of go in its own natural flow?
The energy will not have its potency. But the way the 12 blessing works, it uses several levels. It uses a mental level. First it uses a psychic level. Then it uses a mental level, and it uses a physical level. In fact, it uses a double physical level, because the double physical level is the motion of your hands, the stillness of your body, and then your voice. So you, even though your mind may stray a little bit, you still projecting the mental thought it's forcing you to think about the prayer, and it's forcing you to voice it. And then it's also the rituals. See, that's why rituals are good, because rituals put you into a cycle. You are creating a natural cycle, for the energy. And your voice is lacing that energy with intelligent signatures, right? Because, one of the most powerful projection that we have is our voice. I can voice something and place it in your aura quicker than what I can project it mentally. See? I can voice it even if you don't hear me. I can place it in your aura. Because that's one of our most powerful, because your voice is Kundalini. Your voice is a resort of a Kundalini action. So the design, the ritual of the 12 blessing is very, very powerful. It's very, very mystical. And to misuse it, you will go to hell. So be very, very careful about how you use it, because it's layered. It's layered to bring about a certain action. That's why if you look at rituals, if you look at old rituals, old Hindu rituals, Buddhist rituals, and even the West Indian, the American Indian rituals, and even the African rituals, you'll see that most of those rituals are layered to project this great cosmic energy. So you have to be very careful when you start dealing with ritual type magic, because it's very, very powerful, and you make a mistake, you can really do some damage that you don't even know. So that's why I'm very, very careful about doing it, and it's a very, very important practice, especially the 12 blessings. I mean, if you study the 12 blessings, I did a class maybe like 8 years ago, 8 or 10 years ago, on it, and we really went into it. And you can see it. It's very, I mean, you may not see it, but it's very simple to see. You know, based on the knowledge of mysticism. So it was a carefully designed practice. That's why it's so powerful. But the energy will go out. It might not be as potent if you don't do certain parts of it. It may not be as potent. But when you get into it and you really do it, you can notice the whole atmosphere change. I mean, when we were doing certain 12 blessing practices, sometime my old class, my old group, it was so powerful that sometime when members came, they fainted. They actually fainted. The energy was too much for them to take. You know, the energy gets so powerful that we actually had people to just fall out. You know, so that's one of the reasons why I went to telling people to sit in the chair. Don't stand, sit. You know, because if they get woozy, at least they can catch themselves quicker than just falling straight from the floor. But we actually had people to fall out. So it's a very, very powerful ritual. So yeah, things can happen. I mean, the energy go down, but because of where it's layered, you're going to have a certain amount of energy to go out. Yeah.
And also the practice of the presence, does that change? Like not just in healing, but for blessings as well, but just doing it all.
Mm-hmm.
When we're sending out energy, does that practice change the nature of the manas that's created?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course it does.
So that, in a way, it purifies it as it goes to the
Yeah,
patient.
that's what you want to do. That's what you want to do, yeah. Because you want to push out positive manas. Because you don't want the negative manas that we push out goes directly to the lower hells, and it feeds them. We don't want to do that. We want to put out positive manas. Okay, so that we have help to uplift the world. That's why you want to mold and shape your life to do good things. Not to do negative things. All right. So the controlled imagination, the ability that allows a person to sustain his or her imagination and visualization is controlled and enhanced concentration over the mental processes. That's self-explanatory, right? Imagination gives you the ability to create a mental picture out of subtle energies. Visualization, an aspect of imagination, helps you to enhance the mental creative image. Concentration sustains the creative, imaginative, and visualization image. We talked about it. With concentration, what is the added factor that I didn't place here? What? Love, right? You're teaching this stuff, you always got to leave something out for the teacher to give, okay? That's the way you do, because you don't want it to get into the wrong hands. All right. So the next one is understanding the power of concentration and directing prana. The sixth limb of yoga is concentration, which is a series of techniques that trains the student to focus all their thoughts down one channel of thought without wandering. Okay? So now you're doing this healing you have to have some level of concentration. And anyone who tell you don't, they just don't, don't take that. Because you want to build this wall of concentrated thought in order to create and sustain and project your energy flow, to the patient. And by doing, and at the same time, instill or impregnate that energy with this great love, so that you can have great results. That's what you want to do. So you need a level of concentration. Okay? You need a level of concentration. Concentration techniques consist of imagination, visualization, pranayama, mantra, japa, prayer, and sitting in the silence with one main focus. Okay? Those are just simple concentration techniques that will help you build your concentration. All right? Now, another thing about spiritual healing develops psychic abilities. When you practice spiritual healing, you will begin to develop your psychic sight, your psychic smell. This is naturally, because when you're pushing this energy through you to serve another person, it's going to, one of the things it's going to do is going to accelerate your aura, it's going to unclog the nadis, is going to bring enhanced concentration and visualization. Imagination, visualization is going to begin to create psychic awareness. Because once the nadis clear themselves out to a degree to allow the energy to flow to the brain and balance that brain out, balance the hemisphere of the brain out, then what happens next is a merger of your psychic, of your physical and astral senses, and you'll have psychic abilities. So spiritual healing is a way to develop your psychic. It's a balanced way too. It's a very balanced way to develop your psychic abilities. Okay? The effects of continuous practice of concentration brings about a calm and balanced flow of mental and vital energies. Okay? As stated, concentration is the ability to direct and focus the full conscious mind on one object or subject without interruption for long periods of time, such as 15 minutes or 25 minutes during the healing session, or hours during the contemplative pranayama session. Okay? A focused mind leads to a calming of the mental auric structure. Of course, we know what that does, right? Everybody? It stops the modifications. Okay. So when it stops the modification, what does it do?
Allows a free flow of energy.
Yes, it allows a free flow of energy. Because with your auric, most people auric is like a storm. It's like cyclones that goes around and around and around and around and around. You ever seen the supposed cyclone on Jupiter? It was a Jupiter, and they say that there's always a hurricane there. It's just a massive hurricane that floats around the planet, for centuries now it's been there. So, of course, I don't think that's what it is, but most people aura is like that, unfortunately. So we want to calm the auric fields to allow free flow of mental thought and mental concentration. All right. This helps to amplify the stream of power being directed as spiritual healing energies. Concentration in the right manner on the right object and subject also has a cleansing effect on the nadis as well as the aura, which we stated. Pure concentrated power clears the mental pathways that cuts through the mental distortion and pollution, because that's what it is. You're polluting your mind with all type of craziness. You know, all of us have. We go out on the day-to-day and we absorb ourselves in all this craziness. So we have to throw that off, and concentration helps to do this. Okay? Create it from your uncontrolled imaginative thought forms that flows through and around the auric fields, and that's what happens. You actually watch a movie, and if you are impressed by that movie too much, it creates a distortion in your aura. If you are impressed properly by the movie, it doesn't. Because you can look at the movie and look at all the karmic implications of that movie and not be impressed by it negatively, but be impressed by it positively, you know. Because, I mean, that's one of the techniques I began to use. I look for the karmic patterns within movies and apply it to my life or use it as knowledge or understanding. That's one way you can do when you go look at movies. But when you just get absorbed in it and then you come out kicking your feet up, trying to be like Bruce Lee, you just been impressed the wrong way, you know. Or shooting them up like Die Hard, Bruce Willis, you just been impressed the wrong way. So, or go in your car like Fast Fury and start driving crazy. You've been impressed the wrong way. So you don't want to allow the movie to take you down that road. You know, just take it, look at the karmic lessons, because there's no such thing as fiction. You know, there's absolutely no such thing as fiction. There's lessons in everything. So if movies, if you love to be entertained with movies, which I do, you look for the karmic implications that's within those lessons, you know. But don't get so absorbed that you become the movie, you know. Because that means you've just been impressed the wrong way. So pure concentrated power clears the mental pathways, cuts through the mental distortion, we said all of that, right? And pollution. Control positive concentration, reduce the creative and negative samskaras. And that's what you want to do. You want to reduce the negative samskaras being placed out. The healer uses the power of concentration to sustain the flow of power being harnessed, okay? Keep the quality of the impregnated flow of prana during the spiritual healing technique. Okay, whatever you impregnate this energy, this raw energy that you pulled in with spiritual healing energies. So you want to be able to keep that high level of spiritual energies doing, you know, when it's leaving your body. You don't want to have it degrade itself. So love energy, okay? Get that love feeling, produce this love feeling within you, okay? Concentration allows us to direct the impregnated power of prana to its target. It is the power of concentration that pushes these subtle energies down through the creative magnetic tunnel of the imagination and visualization. It's your concentration that does that, because once you create the funnel, then it's your concentration that helps sustains this. Your ability to hold that visualization in manifestation through concentration. If your mind go off too far, you lose, the image can die. The image can fade away, and you have to build it all over again. And I'm sure anyone who's been doing this for a time, you know when that has happened to you. you almost, it's like you hit rock bottom and you can't get back to where you were before. You don't feel the flow of energy. You don't have that mode or that zone on you. It's not there. You're not in the zone anymore. So you know that you have lost it. So you have to build it all over again, and that's what you want. That's why if you develop a deep level of concentration, then you won't worry about, you won't have those drop-offs like that. Okay?
Question.
Yeah.
Let's say you do lose like focus and concentration while you're giving healing.
Mhm.
You like step out and like recite mantra to yourself or something.
You can do that, but if you're in the middle of the healing, what you start, you must finish. That's the rule. Okay? So chant the mantra to yourself, but finish your healing session. Okay? You know, the mantra can wash away and clear the aura quicker than anything. And then focus again and get into your healing. Finish the healing. What you start, you must finish. Okay, mudra. The mudra that's used in the spiritual healing technique. The mudra technique here is used to seal the flow of prana in one area of the body and activate the flow of prana in other chakra areas. Most knowledge of mudra yoga is secret. It is not allowed to be given to the general public, and it's only given through an initiation. Mudra yoga techniques are very potent and yields fast results. This is why the majority of the knowledge is kept secret and away from the general public. Most mudras that are secret are those mudras that work along with mantras. Okay? And some types of ancient ritual that give man access to a tremendous amount of raw Shakti power for short periods of time to perform a task or a mission of some type. Mudra yoga is not just a series of hand gestures. Most people will tell you that. It's not. It's a sacred science. It's a sacred science of yoga that allows mankind to tap into tremendous amounts of subtle pranas. In the practice of mudra yoga, the whole body, mind, and soul is used in the technique. The fingers and arms positions are the main focus of mudra yoga. The head, legs, breath, right mental visualization are also used in mudra yoga. The reason why the main focus is placed on the fingers and hands and arms position is that the hands are linked to at least 5 major chakras along the spinal column through a nadis flow of prana. Now, this is something is really interesting too, because I'll finish this up and then we'll talk about it. The Udana prana that is generally located in the throat, the Udana prana travels through the head, arms, and legs, and it is an aspect of prana that expresses the conscious patterns of the mental and vital powers of prana. The Udana prana represents akasa, or bhutas, the cosmic element, which is the carrying agent for all the pranas. Each finger is not only linked to the chakras, but the flow of the 5 major pranas that flows through the subtle bodies via the nadis system and the chakra system. The fingers and the hands also represents the cosmic bhutas, the ancient earth elements of the universe. It also represents the 5 major pranas along the spinal column, starting from the base chakra up to the throat chakra. In the center of the hand is also a major chakra, which is surrounded by a number of minor and minute chakras. In the center of the hand is also the major chakra, which is surrounded. Did I repeat that? We estimate that there are over 20 chakras within the hand, which is a massive destination point for mental and vital energies to express itself in many ways. This can be seen in man's works of art, his engineering capacity, thousands of crafts, scientific and philosophical achievements of the human race. Now, scientists have realized this. Scientists say that, well, of course, they go back and say, well, it's the thumb, you know. It's the fact that we have a thumb that have separated us from from animals. It's the thumb that separates man from most animals. His ability with the thumb gave him the ability to use delicate instruments or create instruments. But of course, we know it had to be more than that. Okay, so that's something that we need to remember, that the hands are connected to all the chakras, and it's a termination, it's an expression point for all the chakras from the base up to the throat chakra. The hands are. The ability of the hands, strategic maneuvering of the arms and hands in order to respond to express the will of the mental and vital commands of his consciousness. Doing the actual technique of the mudras, the arms are used to align the fingers and hands with the flow of prana and the mental projection emerging from the major chakras along the spinal column. Following shows the fingers' relationship to the earth elements, the tavic pranic states, the 5 major pranas, and the associated chakras with the particular fingers. Okay? And you can clearly see the thumb is the earth. It's the apana energy is connected to the base of the spine. The index finger is water. Most people get this wrong. I want you to know. So be very careful about studying this stuff with some people, because they get it wrong. And it's so simple. I don't know why they would get it wrong. It's so obvious, you know. So, and it's not, and this is this information is not secret anymore. Okay, so it was given out. Other than that, I wouldn't give it to you. But it's not secret anymore.
Who decides what stays secret and what's made public?
The sign of the times. So, this is not secret anymore, but it's there for those who wants to see it and wants to go for it. The middle finger, of course, is the finger of fire. When you look at it, it's the longest finger on the hand, on everyone's hand, because it's the flame. All right. The ring finger is the finger of the air, life, the giver of life. Even for those who criticize marriage.
The finger of freedom, that's why I tie it down.
So, and the little finger is either, you know, and of course is connected to the throat chakra, which is the chakra of purification. Okay. So, moving on, the mudra for spiritual healing technique is the open hand. Okay? And it's the open hand. And this mudra is called abhaya, whatever that is. I can't pronounce it. But that is the, and you know, this is it, it's a very powerful mudra. All right. The mudra of the mudra that radiates a huge amount of cosmic energies on several planes of existence when used properly. Okay. That's why you use healing and prayer. In fact, just Google that name and you'll see hundreds of uses, thousands of uses for this particular mudra. It was given out to the world openly, I think in the 1800s. All right, maybe even before then, but at least we can trace it back to at least the 1800s. This mudra creates a free flow of pranas through the chakras of the hands, which is connected to at least five chakras along the spinal column through the subtle lines of force called the nadis. Now, this particular technique, as shown in this picture, energy is transferred from the left to the right as you go down the body. As you move from the top of the head down to the base of the spine. You move the energy from the right to the left on one side, and then back and forth on the other side. Okay? Now energy usually travel normally like that. The chakra travel normally, but what you're doing, what you're trying to do is unclog, because that the patient, for some reason the patient have clogged up the flow of that energy in most cases. In most cases, when we feel some type of illness, if we just radiate energy through those chakras, the illness will go away. Usually any type of illness we have is because one of our major chakras have clogged up. So this particular technique is about pushing the energy through. Okay?
Meaning from front to back, in regards to the patient? We're always pushing from the front. Even when we switch sides, we're going front to back?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not. When we get into the technique, we'll go according to the book. But when we get there, for those who's watching, I will not film it. Okay, so if you wanna see it, you gotta come in. But I give you all this information beforehand. So that's the way it usually goes, okay? And so, and then, of course, the person have to mentally concentrate, they have to create the imagination, pull down the energy, and direct the energy through their auric structure, out through the hands, in order to have the impregnated effect of moving raw energy from the from one source, impregnating it with spiritual healing energies and pushing it to another point. Okay? Okay, we'll go into, how long have we been? Not too long yet.
It's 1:35.
Y'all wanna close out now or go on?
What's next? What's on?
How long we been? We've been for over an hour?
Yeah. Well, the stream has been up for over an hour.
Okay. You wanna push on or? Y'all wanna?
Yes.
Have to be a confirmation of everyone.
No
It's
one's
11:35. What?
Yeah, we're
How
good.
much
Yeah, I
more
mean, it's 1:30, it's 1:36.
How many slides in this process?
I just don't want you to get into something that you're not gonna have time for, you know?
It's,
slide that's for you. Good vision.
I think it's 10 more slides for this section.
Yeah, well,
Can we go to 2? It's 1:30, right?
We usually stop around this time, it's up to you all.
oh, we have a meeting after this, right?
Huh?
We still have a meeting after this.
Yeah,
Continue next one.
We can stop.
because we're going into the next section, which is pranayama. So
I guess.
Yeah, we
so
can
there's
stop.
10 slides, all right? All right, and so that's it for this week, and we'll finish up next week, and we'll go into the technique hopefully next week. We should be able to go into the technique. All right,
For those of you online, if you have not watched the last class that we had, I'd recommend it. We gave a lot of information in the last class. The last class was the first class of this series. We gave a lot of background information of how the pranas work, how it flows through the cosmos, and how it flows through our bodies. I would really recommend that class if you haven't seen it already.